Hello everybody, Dokkan sets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure unboxing video, and today we are finally going to be taking a look at some more superhero figures. That's right, we're finally going to hop into the Bam Presto DXF Piccolo, and then in the next video we will be taking a look at Gohan. So let's go ahead and get that man off the screen. Don't you worry, he will be looked at in a minute. And let's go ahead and take a look at the box for Piccolo. Now, a couple of things as I'm showing you around the box here. For one, obviously these are the first of the Bam Presto superhero figures. Currently, at the time of this recording, this movie has not gotten any other figures from Bam Presto in any other type of series, right? The other different figure lines that they're currently doing haven't gotten any love for superhero just yet, but we do know that there is going to be some stuff coming up soon enough. By the way, I didn't want to turn on the ring light because, like, look at that terrible glare that you now see on the figure. But this guy came out pretty early into this line's run. I only am taking a look at these guys now just because this is basically like the first couple of figure unboxings of the year that I'm honestly filming. And of course, with this guy being pretty cheap, I was able to cop this guy for about 20 bucks from eBay, I believe. I decided, you know what? I don't really have any Piccolo figures anyway, so I may as well cop this one and give you guys the verdict on it. Now, by the time that this video is actually being made, the Power Awakened version is actually releasing in Japan. And I have to say, as unfortunate as it is, that figure is kind of looking like it's a little bit of a stinky gamer, which is a little bit unfortunate to see, but hey, at least we have this guy to take a look at, and hopefully they give us more of that form in the future. By the way, I do want to let you know, I am using my new phone, my Google Pixel 7, to film this video. So hopefully the camera quality looks good. I'm going to do my best to keep it focused and to keep the video looking as good as possible. But I do apologize if something in this video goes wrong. Look, Piccolo has a little window to look out of there. That's so funny. Look at him peeking out of the window. That's so goofy. Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead and get the man out. So if anything in this video goes wrong with the camera, I do apologize in advance. I am very much so still getting used to how this works. And I really can't figure out the autofocus. For some reason, the autofocus just like doesn't exist. I've looked around the settings for this thing many times. I trust me. I do, but trust me when I say that. Alright, so Piccolo is actually quite a bit smaller than I thought he was going to be. We'll take a look at him outside of the bag in a second. But I think that that's also because the DXF line in general, this particular line, even back in the day, because funny enough, this is a bit of a older figure line, it's always been kind of small. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the size. By the way, here is the stand. I have to say, I really like these stands in this set. This is a lot better than just a generic black stand, which they totally could have just done as they do with many other prize figures. But we get this very nice white, sort of pearlescent almost, kinda. I like the way that the logo is printed on there too. That's awesome that they have that on there. Very much so a big fan of that. And look at that, the autofocus seems to be working. Well, I don't know, maybe I'm just spreading this information on the internet. I guess it's deciding to work now. Now, I will tell you, the one thing that is already kind of unfortunate about this figure, before we get him out of the bag, is the feet, right? With the feet on my copy, he actually looks really good, I gotta say. The face looks better than I was expecting. The problem with the feet, right, is that as you can see here, he has these pegs. Okay, now, of course, when I say that about the autofocus, it doesn't want to focus. There we go. So as you can see, right, the feet have these pegs on the bottom, which is really unfortunate, because obviously what that means now is that the figure is not going to be able to stand on his own, right? If you try and stand this up, I'm trying to do it but so it'll fall, but I don't want it to actually fall. The point is it won't stand because it has the pegs there, right? Which is such a shame, because they could have easily just put the pegs where these holes are, right? Rather than putting the pegs in the actual feet. So then that way you could stand the figure up, and then obviously the stand would just have the pegs, but it is what it is, I suppose. Let's actually take a look at the man himself, and I gotta say, I am fairly impressed with this, honestly. I have seen a couple of versions of this guy, there we go, where he kind of doesn't look that great. Honestly, I do think that the eye looks a little bit weird from certain angles, but that's just because of how his eyebrows are, right? Like you can see there, both of his eyes are visible. Camera is having a hard time picking him up. There we go. As you can see, his eyes look really good when they're looking from that angle. It's just when they're looking like this or like this, it looks a little bit strange because obviously it's sort of like deep into his eye socket. But overall, I don't think this figure looks too bad. I've seen some that look much worse quality than mine does here, like especially on the arms and the paint job on the arms. I've seen a lot of copies of this figure that look not that great, to be honest with you. So I'm glad to see that the paint job on mine looks pretty decent. The antennas are very delicate. They are a little bit like squishy from what I'm seeing. But overall, the paint job on mine seems to be pretty decent. The sculpt is very good. Again, it looks exactly like Piccolo, right? Like it's what I'd expect from a Piccolo figure. It looks good. The shoes as well, the Namekian 5s, also look very, very good. If it'll focus on them, yeah. Looking good. All right. So let's go ahead and put this man on the stand. Unfortunately, it does look like his legs are a little bit too big. As you can see, he doesn't actually reach the hole there. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to squeeze the leg a little bit. So then that way we can get the peg in the hole. And bada bing, bada boom, there he is. He does stand very nicely on the actual stand once he's on there. But there you go. That is Piccolo. The only unfortunate thing about this stand, despite the stand being pretty cool, right, is the fact that this is going to take up a lot more space on the shelf rather than it normally would. Because like I said, if you could, you know, take the pegs off, or if the pegs were on the stand, you could just have Piccolo on the shelf standing there rather than all this extra real estate on the shelf that you're going to have from the stand there. But nonetheless, this figure actually does look pretty good. I am honestly pretty impressed. Let's go ahead then and compare this guy next to some other figures. For our usual comparisons, we have the Ichiban Kuji Gotenks and the WCF Blue Goku. By the way, I did adjust the camera a little bit to try and get a little bit of a better height comparison here. And when it comes to the actual size of our man, he stands at about... that looks like just under 7.5 on camera. It looks like it's just above 7.5, but off camera it looks like it is just under. So around 7.5, I would say, is probably the size you're looking for this guy. Not too bad, considering he is definitely a little bit of a smaller scale figure, right? I don't think that that's too bad of a size. This would make, honestly, like a little decent desk figure. I mean, maybe it's a little bit big for that, but definitely not too bad, honestly. Let's go ahead and do a couple of comparisons here. I don't have too much crazy shenanigans to throw at you for this video, but talking about DXF, this is going to be a short little comparison here. We do have Bardock, which is a older, well, sorry, not Bardock, because clearly this isn't Bardock. Of course, this is the old DXF Mass Saiyan. I believe this one is technically a SDBH one. This guy is pretty cool, but I just kind of wanted to show you that even back in the day, these figures are quite this small scale. And I don't think these guys are exactly the same. I think Bardock is definitely a little bit bigger, but he is up on a little bit of a taller stand, so I suppose he also kind of has that height advantage. Alright, enough of our nerdy comparison, of course, that being for me wanting to see the size between the figure line throughout the years. We of course have to bring in some superhero figures. I don't actually have any other Piccolo figures besides the SH Figure Arts one, however, look how tall he is on camera. We do have the Ichiban Kuji Gamma 1 and 2. Let me adjust the camera for you there a little bit. There we go. And with these two, obviously, they're going to be bigger than Piccolo because, of course, they are from a line that is scaled higher. As you guys know, I talked about in the video with Gamma 1 and 2, that I am definitely a little bit more of a fan of these ones rather than the DXF ones that would actually be to scale with Piccolo. I may consider eventually maybe seeing how that full set round Ichiban Kuji ones, and even though the size is a lot smaller. Honestly, I think Piccolo fits in pretty well with these. Obviously, stylistically, right, you both kind of associate all of the characters here on screen with the movie. So not only does it look pretty good from that perspective, but also just the fact that, you know, I mean, he just fits in pretty well. Even though they both have a little bit of a different sculpting style, I think that they work pretty well together. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Your boy really appreciates it. If you would like to pick up this figure, I will leave a link in the description below. If they have them on Amazon, I'll put a link to Amazon, and if you do cop them from that Amazon link, I do get a little bit of a cut with no extra cost to you, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for your support on that, and let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section below. Honestly, I'm not like crazy blown out of the water or super impressed or anything like that. I mean, it is just a very basic Piccolo figure. But I gotta say, he certainly turned out a lot better than I thought he was going to. I have definitely seen a lot of pictures of this guy turning out pretty crummy quality, so I'm glad that at least my version of this guy honestly looks pretty good. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. See you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.